What is up, friends? Well, Generation 9 of Pokémon is almost upon us. Well, not exactly almost. It is still several months until Pokémon Scarlet and Violet release. We still have quite some time until the release of these games, and we still have much more to learn. So far, we have been graced with 2 trailers, the initial reveal trailer, and a more extensive trailer earlier this month. This is a special episode of the Kiro Tarakai GameCast, entirely devoted to discussing this new generation of Pokémon games. And who better to discuss this than a complete Pokémon noob such as myself, Fawful DX, and a complete Pokémon nerd such as my good friend, Dr. Normal. So Dr. Normal is here today for this discussion. Hello, Doc.
Hello.
So, let's jump right into this discussion with a question. Just a more broad, open question. What are your initial thoughts on this new generation of Pokemon?
Well, I think it's going to be very exciting if it's going to be more open world style. If Pokemon Legends Arceus was such a big hit, then I know Scarlet and Violet probably will double the reviews.
Yeah, honestly, I have to say that this past year of Pokemon has been the first generation of Pokemon that has really excited me as someone who has never really been a Pokemon fan. Usually I'm just like, oh, there's another Pokemon game for Pokemon fans to feast on, while Pikmin fans such as myself are only given a scant bone every few years. But this generation actually looks really interesting to me. The new elements that they've added, and I am really interested to hear more of your thoughts. And so, here is the all-important question. Based on what we've seen, which version do you think you will pick?
Pokemon Violet. Even though Scarlet might be more of my favorite color, the latest trailer that gave us a little bit more in-depth look of the whole game, and the new legendary Pokemon that came with it, appealed to me more, similar to how the game Sun and Moon appealed to me more. The game Sun was much more popular, but I was very more appealed to the legendary Pokemon of Moon, and very much similar to Scarlet and Violet. Also, it might be Generation 9, but it's Generation 2 of the new open world Pokemon games, which I am very excited for. And I will definitely be either pre-ordering or going to find it on the first day, just to get my hands-on experience of it.
Yeah. Same thoughts here, basically. Personally, I like the color Scarlet better, but I really like the futuristic look of the Violet Legendary. And then, of course, there are the 2 professors. This is the first generation of Pokemon to have 2 different professors for the versions. Also the first generation of Pokemon where the professor is not named after Flora. And so we have Turo and Sada, which are the Spanish words for future and past, respectively, which seems to be a theme in the games, as evident in the professors and the new legendaries. So this is an interesting change for the series that we see this much variation in the games. Our next question is, what do you think of this new region in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet?
So I haven't really looked much into the region, but if it's anything like the Hisui region in Legends Arceus, if it's got mountains to traverse or rivers to swim across, then it should bring just as much excitement as the last and first open world game, which I'm really hoping for a lot more detail in the terrain, and I'm not trying to down the Hisui region, but I would like more detail in how the Pokemon free roam, since it is going to be an open world based Pokemon game.
So yeah, for this new region, we don't exactly have a name yet, but the region is based on the Iberian Peninsula, the peninsula which consists of Spain and Portugal. So I'm expecting the name will be something Hispanic. So, yes, after, like you said, Pokemon Legends Arceus was much more open, these games will apparently have a fully open world, though we don't know the extent of this world yet. It is a very interesting change for Pokemon, and while it is certainly interesting, open world does have the potential to make it a bigger, grander experience than ever. It also has the potential to introduce many problems, but that's a discussion for another time. We'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. And Dr. Normal, another feature I would like to hear your opinion on is the multiplayer aspect of the game.
So the last time that there was a multiplayer added into the game was back in Sword and Shield. and you could see people running around in the quote-unquote wild area, which was the most open part of the game. And it was so laggy that you could never see anyone running around in one straight line because the internet was also slow, and I don't think that very much thought was put into it, especially with their quote-unquote wonder trades or on-the-spot battles. And the new trailer for Scarlet and Violet gave us a good look at what wonder trades will look like and the multiplayer. But I really, even though I might be a quote-unquote Pokemon nerd, I don't play with many people online. My goal is to fill the Pokedex, and if I do play online, it's not to trade, it's to battle, as I actually proved my mark in Pokemon Ultra Moon. But the online multiplayer, I hope that it's a lot more designed better than Sword and Shield were, because I was very disappointed the way Sword and Shield were played with on multiplayer, basically, online.
Yeah, and since it seems that multiplayer will be a major aspect of this new game, hopefully it won't be as laggy and buggy as it has been previously. And I really think it's interesting that you can have like 4 players simultaneously. I personally hope that it's not just online multiplayer or local multiplayer. I am big on couch co-op and playing games together with people. So I'm hoping that it's also, I shouldn't get my hopes up, but I'm also hoping that it's single system multiplayer, because as I am trying to get into Pokemon more, I also want to try to get my sister into Pokemon as well. So I hope that you can do single system multiplayer, but again, not keeping my hopes up.
So do you want it similar to the Animal Crossing New Horizons single console gameplay, more or less?
Yeah, that would be interesting, where you can each progress on your own, but if you want to, you can team up together. That certainly would be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how this new feature is implemented in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
I do doubt it, but I wonder if they would make a split-screen version on the same TV but with the same console. Kind of like Mario Kart, but I highly doubt it. But that would bring a great new revolution to multiplayer with one console in these new games.
Yeah, because Pokemon has always usually been a single-player experience, with some spin-offs having multiplayer, but mainly just single-player, which I'm okay with that. And so, moving on from the topic of multiplayer, let's discuss the battle system. So despite this new massive open world, it seems the battle system will be mostly unchanged from traditional Pokemon. Are you excited to see this return to the traditional style, or did you want them to incorporate more elements from Pokemon Legends Arceus?
So it did actually veer off a little bit from the original style. Pokemon Legends Arceus brought into the fact where you can throw a Pokeball right next to a wild Pokemon and start a battle. But also in games past, like Sword and Shield, or Sun and Moon, or even all the way back to Red and Green and Blue, you can run across a trainer and a little exclamation mark will appear above their head. And then a battle will start with the trainer. That was not implemented in Legends Arceus because it was you on your own facing the whole world of Pokemon in a very brutal environment. So whenever I did see the little exclamation marks pop up above other trainers and free roamers' heads, that did kind of excite me to where I can, number one, go out in the wild, throw a Pokeball out, and then start a battle with a wild Pokemon. Or just walk up next to someone and then start a battle with another trainer, unlike in the Hisui region of Pokemon Legends Arceus, where you were on your own facing the toughest of toughest wild Pokemon instead of any other trainers. There were only, if I count 7, actual trainer battles, and they were either at the end of the game or the beginning of the game in Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I was very excited just to see this one fact of exclamation marks coming into this new game.
Yeah, so it does make sense where in Pokemon Legends Arceus you're having these more dynamic battles, because it's not you and a trainer commanding your Pokemon to do things, you're fighting wild Pokemon. So that certainly is interesting. From what I saw of it, I liked the dynamic style of battles in Legends Arceus. I wish they had incorporated just a few elements of Legends Arceus into this new game, but still, people do like the traditional Pokemon battles. I hope they will make a few minor changes, maybe to shake things up, because I did like these more action-based battles that we saw in Pokemon Legends Arceus, where it actually seems like the Pokemon are fighting each other and not just standing there and taking turns attacking. Still, there's a place for traditional Pokemon battles and more action-based Pokemon battles. Maybe in future games, the main titles will feature traditional Pokemon battles, and maybe like Legends titles will feature these more action-based battle systems.
And I would like to see an option where you can just walk away from a trainer battle if you don't want to enact in it. For instance, I can recall many times in Pokemon Ultra Moon, which was my most played Pokemon game, where I had to go and I was in the middle of a very intense trainer battle, and I would have to stop my game and either cut off the 2DS XL that I had and come back to where I last saved before that battle, or put it in sleep mode and then open it back up and resume it. So I would like to see a quick leave or save option while you're battling a trainer, just so that for that convenience of opening it back up and still having all your progress saved, instead of forgetting to save until one point and then going all the way, battling, having to go and starting all the way back from that one point. Very frustrating and made me want to quit a few times, but I did persevere and basically toughed it out.
Yeah, there are some, minor, smaller ways, but still important ways that they can change the battle system to make the experience better. And with this game being a open world game, I'm sure the structure of the story will be much more open. Apparently, you can do the gyms in any order you want. So that'll be interesting that you have more freedom to go basically anywhere you want. A freedom that has never really been seen in Pokemon games before. So that's interesting, and what do you think of this more open structure, Dr. Normal?
So the last time that you could do a gym in a different order was in Pokemon Platinum and then Diamond and Pearl. Technically you couldn't do them in any order, but the difference between the game that I played, which was Diamond and Platinum, I never got to play Pearl, was that in Diamond you would go into Hearthrome City and not be able to fight the gym, but in Platinum you could go into Hearthrome City and fight the gym right away. That's the closest reference I could ever think of. And the only other thing that I can also think of would be in Pokemon Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon was the 9th quote-unquote gym that was found on, I think it was Ula Ula Island. I don't really know the name of the island. It wasn't even a gym. Before you could take the grand trial, you could go into a gym that replicated one of the Kanto region's Vermilion City gym and fight it, but that wasn't necessarily meant to be in any order. I'm just throwing out games that had gyms that were either certified or not certified in any given order. And those are the only 3 games I can think of that all differ or have the word gym that can be used at any time that you have access to it.
Yeah, so, it will be interesting to, have more freedom just to go anywhere you want, do anything you want. I guess play the game at your own pace and not go in a set direction, in a set path.
Or if you don't have the type of Pokemon matching to beat that gym, you can go skip it, level up at another gym, and find the type that can match up well and set you up for success to beat the next gym. I do like that style because it can really help progression instead of new Pokemon players to the game that don't really understand the style or typing differences.
And so that brings in an element that they'll probably have to do. They've most likely thought of this, and they probably will. It probably will be this way where the gyms will have to scale depending on how strong you are. Because when you do gyms in a set order, when you do any challenge in a set order, good game design is, of course, making these challenges progressively harder. So they'll have to make it so that gyms don't necessarily get harder in a set order, but each one can be different levels of difficulty, and it scales depending on how strong you are.
So, for instance, if you take a number line 1 through 8 and you decide to start at number 4, it'll be the lowest level according to your team. And then say you want to skip to number 2, which is backwards on the number line. Good game design would let the number 2 gym be stronger than the number 4 gym that you chose first, and so on if you were to choose a different number.
Okay, and so now let's discuss the new Pokemon. Which starter do you think you'll choose?
Well, I am a big color red fan. It's my favorite color, but I do not like the design of the starter Pokemon. And what's his name again?
Fuecoco, I think it's. pronounced. These ones are interesting. I'll be interested to hear the official pronunciation because this new region is based on Spain and Portugal. So, for example, the water starter could be said Quaxley or Quale, depending on whether you do a more, English phonetics or Spanish phonetics. So I'll be interested to hear how exactly these are pronounced.
But back to the starter, I am a big cat person, so I am taking my personal preference over my knowledge preference. I will be choosing the grass cat Pokemon, which is...
Yeah, Sprigato, I think it's...
Sprigato.
Yeah, that one is certainly, at least in my opinion, the cutest looking, so it gets the cutest looking starter for this generation. But I've seen a lot of people interested in Fuecoco. Really, if I had to choose, I guess I'd choose Sprigato, but they're all pretty good looking Pokemon. I'd say it's not exactly that one definitely stands out. They all look pretty interesting. And of course, I still have yet to play a Pokemon game, so I don't know whether I will be deciding starters on a game-by-game basis, or whether I'll decide, hey, I just want to go with this type each time. I really don't know. I guess I'd Sprigato, probably. I'm not a big cat person, but just the design. I like the design.
If I was not to choose Sprigato, I would choose Quaxley.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I really don't want a fire lizard type. It feels like there's too many of them in the real world. Lizards that look like they're on fire. So I would choose the water bird because I'm also a fan of ducks.
Yeah, and another factor is just I wonder what their evolutions will be. It'll be interesting to see their evolutions. Yeah, and then there also have been, besides the legendaries, of course, 3 other Pokemon that we have seen: Pawmi, Smoliv, and Lechonk. So, of course, we have Pawmi, who is kind of the Pikachu-like one for this generation. And then what's interesting about Smoliv and Lechonk is that they're really referencing popular culture with words like chonk and small. It's an interesting choice for Pokemon. But do any of these designs stand out to you?
Smalley, I would say, looks more like a flower, and that's definitely just given by their appearance. I would have to see what their evolutions may or may not look like, just to give an idea. But I will say,
Pawmi
looks a lot like a mouse, which Fawful DX just said is the Pikachu, quote-unquote, doppelganger of this game. But definitely, Lechonk looks more like a pig than anything. And that's basically all I can derive from it, because I haven't seen their evolutions, and I haven't really driven into the origin of their names. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about the origins. I've seen a few things, like Lechonk is a truffle hog, and Smoliv, of course, is just small olive, a small olive. So it'll be interesting to see what new Pokemon are introduced. And of course, just like Sword and Shield, there will be some Pokemon that do not make an appearance in this entry.
And I think there will be some variation difference. Like, if you buy Scarlet, you won't be able to get this Pokemon. Similar to every other single generation in the history of Pokemon, unless it was Legends Arceus. But I have yet to find out which ones will be regional, or not regional, game-dependent variants. But they all do intrigue me on which ones will be this and which one will be that. And I'm wondering if there will be any regional variant of past Pokemon, similar to in Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield. There were regional typings for certain past Pokemon that even came out in Generation 1. Maybe I just overlooked them in the trailer. Maybe not. They have a good way of hiding them in their trailers.
Yeah. And lastly, for discussing the new Mon, let's take a look at those legendaries. What do you think of their designs?
So, the one from Scarlet is Koraidon, I would think.
Yeah.
And the one from Violet is Miraidon. I really like the design of Miraidon, I would say. Its violet color definitely isn't as appealing as the red color from Scarlet, because red is my favorite color. But it intrigues me more from Miraidon for me to choose Violet. Koraidon looks more like a scary dragon, and I see too much of that in Pokemon. Miraidon looks more like a flying seal, basically. But it also, its design and I think they're flames that fly up from its head that intrigue me a lot more, because even though I might not agree with it, fortune telling or future sighting or future sight is probably going to be one of its moves. In the real world, whenever people try to tell your future, they use fire. And that fire does look very cool in this Miraidon Pokemon.
Yeah.
But it's more appealing to me than Koraidon.
Yeah, I mean, Miraidon literally has jets for legs, so that's pretty interesting, and all the electricity. But yeah, they both look pretty interesting. Looking at them, they both appear to be based off motorcycles. Like you have Koraidon, it looks like he has a tire on the front. So that's an interesting motif with these two. Miraidon looks really cool with the futuristic kind of almost hoverboardy front. Koraidon looks more, I guess you could say, grounded.
I guess Koraidon looks more like a motorcycle, and Miraidon looks more like a jet ski.
Yeah, some sort of futuristic technology or something. Yeah, and so again, that's just the what appears to be the prevalent theme in these two new games, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. It appears that Scarlet is past and Violet is future. So that's interesting, an interesting contrast. So as we begin to wrap up this discussion, do you have any other thoughts on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet?
I do hope that they make the climbing mechanics for an open world game a lot better than Pokemon Arceus. I don't like it whenever you try to run up a hill and it won't let you go, even though it's clear that you would be able to. And then it automatically calls out a quote-unquote ride Pokemon for you to ride up the mountain. And it really got on my nerves for the design of an open world for Arceus, of just those little things that made you have to press an extra button to traverse something that you probably should be able to. And I want them to also put less aggressive Pokemon in this game, as opposed to Arceus. I know Arceus was meant to be in the past, you're just discovering what Pokemon are, how to catch them, but it still is no excuse to why there are multiple aggressive Pokemon that try to ruin your day. But the design and traveling and traversing terrain, I would like to see a lot better. Other than that, if they keep the battle style and the catching style the same as Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think it will possibly be the best Pokemon game that is ever released. But until then, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon will remain my favorite Pokemon series games.
Yep. So yeah, just like you said, there's a lot of really new, interesting new features in this, especially just the openness that you can go anywhere, and that's a full open world. So that's certainly very interesting, and all these themes of past and future, and the new Mon look interesting. So overall, like I said, this is the first generation of Pokemon that actually has interested me and captivated me. So I'm willing to give them a go later this year. And so, besides all that we've just discussed, we really don't know that much about the game. Like I said, we have several months until the release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and we have much more to learn. So I look forward to these next few months as we learn more about these games and the features that they have. So going forward in these next few months, I'll certainly be excited, and I'm sure Dr. Norm will also be excited to see what new information we get for this exciting new generation of Pokemon games. Of course, new features, new evolutions, and all of that stuff.
Come to the conclusion that this is probably one of the most anticipated Pokemon games that will ever be released, since it's because of its open world design, new evolutions, regional forms, and it's just overall, I would say, not really demeanor for games, but it's appealing open world Pokemon style, as it's Generation 2 of an open world Pokemon game, which I'm so excited for. I'm excited to see the finalized battle styles and the finalized of the region that we will be exploring, and I'm sure it's a game that a lot of Pokemon fans will be waiting to buy, and they will be reviewing on the spot as soon as more information comes out.
Yes, an excellent conclusion. These games are so anticipated, and it'll be interesting to see how they're just so open. And so, that concludes our discussion about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So, thank you, Dr. Normal, for joining me for this discussion.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to catching them all.
Indeed. This special episode of the Kiro Tarakai GameCast has been a fascinating discussion on the fascinating new generation of Pokemon. Over the next few months, as we learn more about these new entries and the beloved franchise, it'll be interesting to see just how open this new generation will be. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at capnate28@gmail.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions or requests you have. For more Kiro Tarakai content, be sure to check out the Kiro Tarakai homepage, the link to which is in the episode description. Well, I would like to once again thank Dr. Normal for coming, and I would also like to thank DJ Dwinner for composing and performing the music of the Gamecast. Lastly, I would like to thank you for listening. I'm Fawful DX, and I'll see you next time on the Kiro Tarakai GameCast.